Before you decide to walk away from her, think again. Most men give up too soon. They believe they've lost the battle before the war has even begun. She pulls away, becomes colder, her reactions are not what they used to be, and you feel like it's over. But what if I told you this is actually your greatest opportunity? What if, instead of walking away broken, you could turn everything in your favor without begging, without chasing, and without losing your self-respect? Most men don't understand this. They act impulsively, too soon, too desperately, and that is exactly what destroys everything. They think that if they try harder, if they do more, things will change. But the truth is, too much effort has the opposite effect. She feels it, and she pulls away even more. So before you give up, watch this video. If you apply what I'm about to tell you, you will find yourself in a position that most men never reach. Let's begin. Why is she pulling away? When a woman becomes colder, men panic. They think she has lost interest, found someone else, or simply doesn't care anymore. But the truth is much deeper. Women don't just wake up one day and stop feeling something. It happens gradually. She stops feeling the chase. In the beginning, your relationship was full of excitement, mystery, a challenge. But now she knows exactly how you feel, and everything becomes predictable. She feels like things are too easy. There is no longer the same dynamic that made her think about you constantly. She tests your emotional stability. Will you panic? Will you start acting insecure? Or will you remain calm? She needs to see that you can maintain control despite her emotional shifts. A woman needs space to feel something again. Attraction isn't built on words, it's built on emotions, tension, and distance. When something is always available, it loses its value. This happens subconsciously, but it's inevitable. The more a man tries to please her, the less she values it. And this is where most men make the biggest mistake. When she pulls away, they do the opposite. They start texting more, calling more, trying harder, and that's exactly when attraction dies. She no longer sees a challenge in him. She stops valuing his attention because it is too easily available. But what if you did the opposite? Instead of chasing her, what if you made her feel the difference? Instead of proving your worth with words, what if you simply gave her space so she could realize on her own how important your presence actually is? Now that you understand why she's pulling away, let's talk about what to do next. The silence test. When a woman starts pulling away, most men make a fatal mistake. They chase after her, trying to regain her attention. But some men do the opposite, and they are the ones who succeed. Instead of pursuing her, they use a powerful weapon, silence. A woman may not even realize she's testing you. She acts on instinct. She suddenly texts less, initiates fewer meetings, becomes colder. She is waiting for your reaction. Will you panic and chase after her? Or will you stay calm, showing that your value doesn't depend on her mood swings? Most men fail this test. They text again when she ignores them. They ask if everything is okay when she responds coldly. They immediately offer to meet up when she cancels plans. And every time they do this, they prove that she is in full control of the situation. But the men who pass this test do the opposite. They remain calm. They don't fall into desperation. They don't demand explanations. They simply continue living their lives, focusing on their own goals, passions, and ambitions. And then, something unexpected happens. The woman starts to feel regret. She realizes she is losing someone she thought was always available. It throws her off balance and forces her to rethink her perspective. Now she starts wondering, what if I'm actually losing him? The power of distance. True attraction is not born in moments of presence, but in moments of absence. Women don't fall in love with presence, they fall in love with absence. When you are always around, always available, always ready to help, you become predictable, and anything predictable eventually loses its value. But the moment you disappear, the situation changes. The less a woman gets from you for free, the more she values what she does get. When something is always accessible, we stop noticing it. But when something disappears, we start craving it. This is why distance is one of the most powerful weapons. When she texts, don't rush to reply. When she posts something on social media, don't react. When she invites you to meet, don't rearrange your schedule for her. Create a sense of scarcity. The moment you stop being predictable and overly available, everything shifts. She notices your absence, and that makes her think, why isn't he replying? Did he lose interest? Does he have someone else? These thoughts trigger a completely different process in her mind. Now she starts worrying. The moment you stop giving everything away so easily, she starts missing you. She begins to feel your value. And that's when everything turns around. You are no longer the pursuer. You are no longer the one dependent on her emotions. Now she starts wondering, what if I'm losing him? If you master the power of distance, you won't just increase your value in her eyes, you will also strengthen your own confidence. You are no longer just a man seeking attention. You are a man who decides who is worthy of his time. What to do instead of chasing? Most men make the same mistake. When a woman pulls away, they do everything they can to get her attention back. They try to explain themselves, justify their actions, prove their worth. But the truth is, words don't work, actions do. The first step is to stop proving anything. A woman needs to feel on her own that you don't depend on her, that your life continues without her. This is not manipulation. This is self-respect. Second, use the principle of mirroring. If she is cold, don't try to warm her up. If she is silent, don't be the first to text. You must show that you don't adjust to her moods and whims. Third, focus on yourself. Invest in your growth, your passions, your career. A woman needs to see that your value does not come from her approval, but from who you are. When you stop trying to hold on to her, paradoxically, that's when she starts gravitating towards you. She sees that you are not someone who can be manipulated, and her perception of you begins to change. What if she doesn't come back? There is a truth you must accept. Not every woman will come back, and that's okay. If she left and never returned, it means she was not the right one for you. You don't want a woman who stays with you just because you chase after her. You want a woman who chooses to be with you on her own. You need to understand that losing a woman is not a failure. It's an opportunity to make room for someone who will truly value you. If she didn't come back, it means her interest was never deep. And now you have a choice. Keep holding on to her, or use this experience to become better. Become the kind of man who doesn't have to fight for attention. Become the man that women don't want to lose. And then, the question, will she come back, will lose all meaning. The secret weapon, silence. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you can use. Most men make the mistake of thinking they need to say something, explain themselves, or try to figure out what went wrong. They send long messages, try to stir up emotions, demand explanations. But the truth is, silence speaks louder than any words. At first, she doesn't even notice your silence. She assumes you will text her soon, that you'll reach out any moment. But then a day passes, 2 days, a week, and she begins to feel your absence. She starts to realize that you no longer depend on her. Women are used to men always being there. They assume that if they pull away, men will chase them. But when you do the opposite, it unsettles her. She becomes uncomfortable with the fact that you are not reacting as she expected. A moment comes when she starts to doubt her decision. She replays past conversations in her head, checks your social media, looks for signs that you are still thinking about her. She waits for you to make a move, but you don't. Silence creates space for reflection. It makes her wonder, what if I've really lost him? In that moment, You become a mystery to her. You are no longer someone she took for granted. Now she starts to see you differently. When used correctly, silence creates a void. And if she was truly attached to you, she will try to fill it. She will start looking for ways to reconnect. Maybe she will accidentally like one of your pictures. Maybe she will send a meaningless message just to see if you will respond. But here's the key. Do not rush. Do not give her everything she wants immediately. Let her feel that your silence is a conscious choice, not an emotional reaction. Only then will she truly recognize your value. Silence is not manipulation. It is a demonstration of strength, self-sufficiency, and confidence. It is a reminder that your life moves forward, that you do not depend on her attention. And that is where your real power lies. How her behavior changes when you go silent. When you stop chasing a woman, something surprising happens. At first, she might not even notice your silence, but as time passes, her perception of the situation begins to shift. At first, she feels relieved. She thinks, good, he's not pressuring me anymore. She enjoys the freedom, the feeling of being in full control. But then, something changes. Doubt starts creeping in. Why isn't he texting? Am I not important to him anymore? Did he find someone else? These thoughts create internal tension, and suddenly, she starts looking for you. She begins checking your social media, getting curious about your life, maybe even asking mutual friends about you. Her instincts tell her that if a man who was always there suddenly disappears, it can only mean one thing: he found something more valuable. And that thought unsettles her the most. Silence is a powerful tool because it forces her to see you differently. You are no longer the man who was always available. Now, you are a mystery. And women can't resist the urge to solve a mystery. Why women start coming back when you're no longer available. The most fascinating part of this process is that the moment you stop chasing her, she starts coming back on her own. This happens because women hate the feeling of loss. As long as you were available, she knew she could always come back. But now that you've disappeared, she's no longer sure. Her mind starts playing out different scenarios. What if he doesn't want me anymore? What if he found someone better? These thoughts create anxiety, and the longer you remain silent, the stronger it becomes. At some point, she can't take it anymore. She sends you a random message, likes an old photo, or finds any excuse to reconnect. This is her way of testing if you're still there. She doesn't want to fully admit her mistake, but she needs to know that she still has access to you. Your job is not to fall back into old patterns. If she reaches out, don't rush to reply. Let her feel that things are different now, that you are not just waiting for her signal to return. Make her realize that now you value yourself more than the chance to be with her. Only then will you truly be in control. How to respond correctly when she comes back. When she comes back, this is the moment that can determine everything. Most men make a fatal mistake. They immediately respond, agree to meet, and show too much excitement. They think that now everything can go back to the way it was, that all they need to do is show how happy they are about her return. But this is a destructive strategy. True strength lies in controlling your reaction. Don't rush to reply. Give her time to feel that she can't just walk back in, that you weren't sitting around waiting for her message. A woman needs to feel that you are different now. When she texts, pause before answering. If she suggests meeting up, don't accept right away. Let her put in some effort, creating a dynamic where you are no longer someone she can easily have without trying. You must act as if you value yourself far more than the opportunity to be available to her again. This is the foundation of self-respect. If you ignore this rule, you will find yourself in the same situation you just escaped from. She needs to feel that you no longer need her approval, that you are not dependent on her emotions. The moment she realizes that you are no longer attached to her the way you once were, her perception of you will change, and her interest will grow. The final step, the power of indifference. Indifference is the highest level of control in relationships. When you are no longer emotionally dependent on a woman, you gain true power. This doesn't mean you have to be cold or cruel. It means you recognize your own value, and you don't try to hold on to anyone. You understand that if a woman leaves, it was meant to be, and if she wants to come back, she has to prove it, not with words, but with actions. A woman always senses when a man is no longer trying to hold on to her, and that affects her more than anything. She is used to men chasing her, trying to keep her, doing everything just to be close to her. But if you act differently, if you remain calm, confident, and completely detached from the outcome, she starts to see you in a new light. Indifference is not apathy. It's the deep confidence that you don't need to convince anyone to stay. You're not playing games. You're not manipulating. You're simply living your life, whether she comes back or not. If you master this lesson, you will never again find yourself in a situation where someone is trying to manipulate you. You will become the kind of man who doesn't wait for attention, but the kind of man who decides who is worthy of being in his life. The key is that your value is not determined by how hard you try to please a woman, but by how you carry yourself in any situation. Don't chase her. Don't try to keep her. Instead, become the kind of man that women don't want to lose. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about confidence and taking control of your relationships, subscribe to the channel. You'll find more valuable content to help you improve yourself. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss new uploads. And of course, share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about this approach? Let's discuss it.